This is live chat, late night live chat. This is just going to be chat.
So, I got V2K. I was planning on going to Starbucks, and as soon as I get down, it closes, and I come back around the corner, and of course, you got the gang of stalkers, aka roaches, and they're like, "Oh my god, Starbucks is closed! Oh my god!" And then I'm walking with my dogs, and then I see a V2K sign like tagged up on a truck. I love it. They're trying very hard, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So I'm watching this on YouTube, right? Mark of the Beast, Pandemics, and then the World Order. We're talking about, he was talking about like Jerusalem and stuff, right? So as I'm watching this big van, not that I'm against Jewish people, not at all, but you know how people slur up your words and stuff like that. But these are straight up demons, guys. They're outside. They're parked right in front of my building. Hold on. You see that car right here? Right here. They're parked right in front of my building. Let's see. So I went out there with holy water because, you know, I'm a child of God. And then they start laughing. You see that? Those cops right there? They're not going to do anything because this is all planned. I'm watching New World Order, The Mark of the Beast, and Jerusalem. And this car, this van, is parked right in front of my building. And they're talking about Jerusalem, which I'm just watching on my iPad. You can't make this shit up, guys. You really can't. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you hear the helicopters, right? Yeah. See? G2K. Ah, thank you for the signs, motherfuckers, but I get it. I'm ahead of you guys. And this guy can't sing clearly, which is sad, but anyway, yeah. You gotta love life, right? You gotta love it. You got to love it. Hey, hey, yeah. They have a bunch of like, just, I don't even know. Satan's army is literally like the dumbest people on this planet, which is sad. Hey guys. So remember I said I have some company. Let's see. Kind of curious. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. See? I was right, right? Gang stalking 101. from my other video where I told you guys somebody was going to come up. Here it is. Because I have a lot of stuff that I actually need to put in storage. And people just bring like petty cans or, you know, meaningless stuff. How much do you think she's getting paid? It's crazy, like a normal person would say something, right? Pretty crazy. Not really. You're dealing with a warrior. Show yourself. And another one. Can't catch a break, right?
Within that 2-second delay, she tapped on the floor, and all these cars are starting to just drive down the road and have that stuff on, so they're all getting in position. Bank softly. You'll probably see him driving by as soon as I step Here's my car. No ticket, thankfully. soon as he saw him, he stared right at me.
Yeah, the gang stalker is outside watching him wash his car. If you pay attention, you'll see the gang stalker outside.
Jamestown, everybody. Jamestown, New York. This right here is a fact that just try to make me feel uncomfortable while I'm working on my car. I know, people, he's not waiting for a car wash. There's plenty of other places open. He was waiting here for me. So he'll probably leave as soon as I'm done. All this is trying to sabotage my car wash. Notice how he waited as soon as I put the money in there, then he got out of his truck and did that? They tried to get me to waste my money, being upset about being washed. You're a dude. You can say anything you want to them, they don't say nothing back. I will beat the shit out of you. Fuck out of here. What you want to look at? All that right there was just to get me to waste $3 for that watch. Because I was so worried about him. Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'll pay $3 extra to prove I'm being gang stalked. No problem to me. Watch, he gets in his car and he just leaves. So this guy waited right there for me to get here so he could come outside and smoke a cigarette and stare at me while I was washing my car, get back in his car, and leave. That guy right there in his pickup truck. And he'll probably use the excuse, oh, well, I was just waiting to use the freaking, I was just waiting to use one of the car washes, but I got here and scoped the place out. Before I saw him, there was plenty of car bays to choose from to wash the car. He's just there to try to make me feel like something while I'm trying to wash my car. And how the fuck they knew I was gonna be here is beyond me. And you notice that too, even though his truck was parked kind of within vision of the next bay, he got out of his car, he stood right there so he could stare at me while I was washing my car. And I'll start talking, and people want to walk up, what are you recording and shit? Well, I'm like, dude, I got people stalking me and trying to terrorize me and stare at me and shit, and they're acting like they're not doing it, but I'm getting tired of this fucking community police and shit, police watching me for nothing. I ain't doing nothing. Kiss my ass. He got all nervous as soon as I said I'll beat the shit out of you. I would too. I'll beat the shit out of that guy. I think I'm fucking straight. I might not know fucking karate shit, but I know karate, baby. Like one to me. It's got a little bit of damage on it. That could be fixed easily. Scratch here and a little bit of Bondo here, paint. Look good as new. All right. Okay. Ain't that bad. Pretty nice. Look at that. Oh, pretty nice.
Okay, I'm going to play this old TI that I found. This guy is one of the first TIs, I think, on YouTube. He's like 7 years old. We're going to start with one of his old videos, Trolls, Disinformation, and Dishonesty. It's a 10-minute video. This guy is Timberwolves 100. He's talking about trolls, disinformation, dishonesty. He got 35 likes. We'll give him 36. Okay, we're going to do a full screen here and play him.
And it also takes away from important issues, that are going on in the world. But I thought it was necessary to defend myself because I've seen a lot of crazy accusations and just, trolls and stuff saying things about me. So I just thought I have to cover this just for people that maybe still don't get it. But there's trolls who just come on to cause trouble, and they don't have any real specific agenda. They're just there to, ruffle people's feathers. Like they'll just come on and say, you're an idiot, or this video is stupid, and they don't give you any reason why. They're just there to, cause hell or whatever. And then arguably worse is the disinformation agents. It's well known that these people are hired, whether it's from the government or it's to cover up certain things. They'll come on, they'll come in on the internet and, claim that, like in my case, that, I'm a perp or something, and I'm not real, which is total bullshit because I've never stole anything in my life. And all I look for is the truth and nothing else. So, people coming on and making claims that, you're fake or you're a perpetrator and stuff. I mean, that's the kind of garbage that the Illuminati wants you to believe in. They want people fighting against each other. And, I highly believe that they're involved in this whole gang stalking thing. So they send in all these fake people saying like, oh, I know you're a fake. And, the scary part about these people is that how many people actually believe them, unquestionably. There's that saying that the more you repeat something, the more likely you are to believe it. And that's totally true. Because I've witnessed it firsthand, like someone will say something behind your back and you'll never know anything about it. And then before you know it, you know, your best friend doesn't like you anymore, and you can't, and you know, you find out years later that there was some asshole that was like spreading totally false information about you behind your back. But you know, whatever. I mean, those kind of people are sad anyways. But then there's also, now we're getting into the truth category, like me, where I just want to tell the truth. And by the way, you know, just because I'm seeking the truth doesn't, and I want to tell everybody the truth, doesn't mean that everything I say is necessarily the truth. I mean, I'm still new in this thing, and of course, you know, it depends on your intent. If you're actually trying to get the truth, I mean, of course you're going to, you know, say some things that might not be 100% correct, or, you know, I've had a couple videos that maybe weren't, you know, 100% accurate or weren't good evidence of, you know, gang stalking or the New World Order or whatever. But the point is the intent. I think that's the difference with real people, is that if you have a question, you know, like me, if you think, you know, if you have a question, if you think I'm questionable or something, then why don't you actually just message me, you know, not be a coward. Don't make a message, run away, and then don't respond. No, if you're a real person and you're trying to confront someone that you think isn't real, then the way to find out is you send a message, and if you get an intelligent response back telling you, you know, whether he was fake or not, you know, that's how you tell if someone's real, if they're actually willing to send a message and answer your questions and not dodge anything. And hey, if anyone has a message, they can just send me about it. But what really disturbed me recently was there was this guy that's only had his profile up for a few months, but he seemed pretty trustworthy. I mean, I've seen a bunch of his videos, and they looked, you know, they looked exactly like, you know, gang stalking, with, you know, he's showing license plates and showing how there's only one light missing on all the cars that are around him. And, you know, he's confronted the perps, you know, that just kind of stare out the window and they won't talk to you. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. You know, this guy looks real. So, you know, I posted a lot. I've been posting on a lot of his videos. So I was like, hey, you know, what's wrong with that? And then, you know, what was really weird is just today, I was posting on his videos. I posted some comment on his video, and then he comes back with a message like, you know, how come you're always posting, like, how come you're one of the first people to post on my, you know, my videos, and it's always like a couple minutes after I upload it? I think you're a perp. You know, and this was really disturbing to me, because it's like, oh, well, anyways, I'm going to show you the obvious here, if people haven't already figured it out. Now, see, this is my channel, and this should look similar to everyone's channel. You know, they put your recommended videos on there. They put uploaded by and liked by, and see how it goes from bottom to top. Like, it'll say 3 weeks ago, you know, then it'll be 2 hours ago until you get up to present time. Now, this happens all the time when someone uploads a video, and it'll say uploaded by, you know, in this case, Grand Forks Vibrations or whatever, and it'll say 1 hour ago. Now, it could happen where he just uploaded it, and it'll say, like, you know, 1 minute or 2 minutes ago. Now, this guy is a frequent uploader, and he's uploaded a lot of videos. And there's days when I have the day off, you know, where I'm on the internet a lot, you know, and I'm just sitting here browsing the web and going through my videos, and then I, you know, frequently I come back to the page and see if anyone else has uploaded videos. I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally. I don't know about you guys, but so anyway, lots of times, you know, this certain guy that had a problem with me, it'll show his videos up on uploaded by. So of course I click on it, you know, I see information about his video, and I'm like, hey, that's cool. So then I write a comment on it. Now, this guy apparently had a problem that I was doing this several times, and he got the impression that I was spying on him because, you know, he frequently uploads videos, and I
think this is what we call them, the perp police. The perp police.
at home a lot when I'm not working, and I just happened to be one of the first people commenting on his video. And I think what happened, because I'm not, this guy might be legit, but my deal is that, you know, I think he's letting the paranoia get the best of him, because when you just come to that conclusion instantly that, oh, you know, I'm gonna make an accusation that someone's a perp, you know, just based on that. I think what happened is he was probably looking at my profile, and he was seeing this one guy. All right, I'll go to actually go to my channel here and show you. All right, see, okay, there's Perp Police, you know, saying you were doing so well, and then, you know, a bunch of curse words and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, you know, you click on his profile, and yeah, it used to say that it didn't even exist. Now it says, you know, but this was only created like a month ago, and when this happened, his profile had only been open for like a minute or so. So this guy was a joke, and then if he has nothing on his profile, what a shock. So then he probably saw messages like this, and then he looked at the fact that I was commenting on his videos like right when he put them up, and he put 2 and 2 together, and he's like, oh my gosh, I think this guy's a perp, you know. And that kind of, you know, that kind of investigation is really flawed, and it's
He's a perp. He's a perp. It's the perp police. The perp police.
unfortunate because that's what creates the hate, and that's why targeted individuals have such a hard time getting together. You can see what I mean, because then it gets to be a blame game where you can't trust anybody because of that. And that's exactly what, you know, we as targeted individuals can't put up with. So, you know, I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'm going to have to start doing comments, you know, pending approval. I didn't do that originally because it kind of tends to make it seem like you're trying to hide something when that's, you know, not the case. But it might be something I have to do because you have all these fake people that are trying to infiltrate and trying to make you look bad. So it's really unfortunate. So anyway, I guess the bottom line is that you just shouldn't trust random people. And that's the problem with this world right now, and why it's turning into a police state, because you have neighbors spying on each other and everything. And, you know, people are starting to not trust each other. And this is, you know, if you look up the New World Order, Illuminati, and all this stuff, I mean, this is by design. They want this kind of stuff to happen. And don't fall into this trap. If someone says something about you, you better talk to that person and find out, you know, whether they're legit or not, instead of just taking someone's word for it, or, you know, a few people's word for it who might be working together, you know, and conspiring against you, which is happening more and more nowadays. Anyway, my main message is don't be a coward and confront the people that you have an issue with. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, so he was talking about the perp police. I'm going to play a couple more of his videos here. He's got one. Don't let harassment get to you. We're going to play that. Don't let harassment get to you.
So I just got home and I have hat hair because it was cold outside and I look terrible, but I'm really in the zone right now. So I want to fill you in on what happened when I drove home from work today. So I'm driving home from work today and I meet everyone, you know, all the target's favorite gang of gang stalkers in their little convoy, you know, on the way home from work, and they do the same thing when you go into work. And this guy cuts me off. You know, he's in the fast lane and I'm in the slow lane. He cuts me off, you know, almost hits me right in front of me. I'm like, no big deal, you know, that's pretty standard fare. This happens all the time, no big deal. But then there's another person coming in the fast lane, coming up on me fast. And then right when she gets to me, it was a her, and right when she gets to me, she slows down and just happens to go the same speed as me. So I look over at her and I wave like, hi, how you doing? And of course, I look over and she's got her head, you know, hunched down like this, looking all sheepish, and she kind of has a grin on her face, but she's looking like a statue and she's just looking straight ahead, you know, pretending like nothing's going on. So I'm like, oh, this is how it's going to go, huh? So I turned on my high beams and I flashed it to the guy that just cut me off, and I kept him on, and I was riding his ass like the whole way home. And the thing is, in that situation, they want to push the envelope just enough so that you'll do something stupid, like you'll start ramming them or you'll break their windows or something like that. But, you know, I'm battle tested. I know how this works. I know they're trying to push me over the edge. You know, in the past, if you didn't know gang stalking was going on and this is happening, I bet you they've got countless people to flip out this way. But I know exactly what they're doing. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to fall for it. So I just have this controlled anger where I know the line. I know how far I can go to piss them off, but not go too far myself. Because if you do go too far, obviously everyone in that area is going to be recording it, and then they're going to bust you. So what I did is I had my high beams on, and of course what's funny is the guy ahead of me did absolutely nothing. You would expect a normal person to go like, at least get a little ticked off, at least, maybe brake check you and be like, or they might stop their car and say, "What the hell are you doing?" But no, this guy just looks straight ahead because he knows he's guilty. He knows he's in this bullshit cult or whatever. So, and then when I get on the way home, this is something I've been noticing for the past week. There's like this drone flying in the sky with a spotlight right on me. I mean, it could be a drone, it could just be some type of aircraft, but it's definitely a spotlight shining right on me, and it's hovering back and forth in the background. I'm going home north on the highway, and down in the south I can see him. And the same thing happened this morning when I was going into work. Back off in the distance, I would see this drone with a spotlight flying back and forth, and then the same cars, flying by me and harassing you, and that whole convoy thing they do. I came across this gang stalking stuff like 5 years ago or so. I believe very little of it. I was like, no way. They're talking about, being able to read your thoughts and, saying something in your head that you were thinking and someone repeats it, somewhere else. I'm like, either they're trying to discredit gang stalking or they're trying to connect dots that aren't there. But, 5 years later, I can say definitively that that's not the case. All this stuff happens and then some. I mean, even the story I shared is pretty tame compared to what probably a lot of other targets have been through. And I haven't even gone through a fraction of what all these other people are claiming. And I don't know about a lot of the claims that some of these other targets are making, but you know what? I don't doubt it for a second. I think about it and I'm like, some of it might not be true, some of it might be true, but I don't immediately dismiss anything because trust me, when you've been through this stuff, you cannot even believe, what planet you're on when this stuff's happening because you're like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe they're putting all these resources into just these certain individuals. It's not just me that it happens to. I think the only way I can fathom that this happens is that they move on from like target to target, from activist to activist. Like, as soon as one activist or targets in the area, they shift this whole group, this whole gang or this whole group towards them. And then when they're out of the picture, they go back in their house. Then they go, then they go to the next nearest location and they do the same thing to another person. So it's not like, it's not, I know what they try to make it seem like, oh yeah, you think you're so important. It's all about you. They're doing it to a lot of other people too. And also they're not putting 24/7 heavy harassment surveillance on certain people all the time. I've noticed most of the time it's really not that bad, but maybe once a month or once a week, sometimes you'll get that really heavy harassment that's noticeably heavier than it usually is. And I think that's when, whoever's behind all this crap, like the NSA or whatever, they're like, okay, we're really going to go heavy on this guy today. All right, what's he thinking about lately? And what are the things he's afraid of? Let's try to set up this scenario for this guy or whatever. And all right, when we're done with that guy, we'll move on to this guy. I think it kind of works like that. But anyways, just keep kicking ass, everybody.
So his next video is going to be called Gang Stalking, Early Experiences Gang Stalking Part 1 of it. It looks like a 3-part series. It's a 3-part series he's going to do on gang stalking. And mind you, this is 7-8 years ago. These are really old videos. So I'm going to put this on now. You guys can watch this one.
Time ago, I said I was going to do a video about when all this organized gang stalking phenomenon started. And I haven't done it for a long time for a lot of reasons. A lot of it's just because I have a short attention span, like most people these days, and it's really difficult for me to get through a video without, editing the video 30 times. And I just can't stand editing. I like to try to get it all done in one take if I can. But anyway, when this all first started, believe it or not, I noticed this was before I realized anything that the conspiracies even existed, like 9/11 and the JFK assassination and all the weird things that have gone on with these shootings and all these lies, basically. I noticed the electronic harassment portion of the organized gang stalking before I got turned on to any of these conspiracies. As a matter of fact, it's my computer had a bunch of problems, had a bunch of issues of being hacked into and stuff like that. And once I noticed that, then I started noticing the organized gang stalking aspect with like people on the street doing things. But that had been happening, I think before the electronic harassment, but it's the electronic harassment that I noticed first, because I was always, and I still am, but I was always really into computers and I knew, a lot about computers. And there were things happening in my computer that I just knew should not be possible. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. I had a problem one day where my internet kept getting kicked offline, and it wouldn't make any sense because I knew it wasn't a problem on the end of the ISP because the light would be on and it would be fine. But like the computer would lock up and it would get all these strange errors would pop up on the screen, like not your normal errors. These were like, you would just be doing something normal, and then all of a sudden, like a strange error would pop up on the screen that you've never seen before. And every time you try to get into that same program, that same error would keep coming up. And then I would, and I couldn't figure it out. So I would okay, I'll just reinstall the operating system and that error will go away and everything will be fine. But I would reinstall it and that same error would come with the same, that same exact error with the same program. Be like, what the hell? How is that possible? I just did a clean format. Why is that still happening? It didn't make any sense. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe somehow with my internet connection, I have some virus and, something's hopping onto it on my connection. So I'm like, okay, I'll disable my connection too when I go to reinstall. So, okay, I disconnect from the internet. I'd reinstall the system and the same exact thing would happen again. And I'd be like, that shouldn't be possible. I know this is not an error that you should get after you reinstall the operating system. So that's just kind of an example of what I've been going through. But then one day, I realized something on my computer that really started to make me freak out. Basically, on the root of my hard drive, this was not something that I had done at all. I found three things. There was a chess game that I played a long time ago online, like 2 or 3 years ago, and that showed all the moves for a game that I remember playing. And then there was also some of my credit card information. This was like a credit card that I had canceled like a year or two ago for some reason. And these are all on text files that were on the root of my hard drive. And then there was the third thing it was my MySpace profile. It contained like just a snippet of information that I had wrote on my page. But all these three files were on my hard.
He said MySpace. Now that's a long time ago. MySpace. Wow.
Drive. And I can't remember I'm trying to remember what it was titled again, but it was it was the name of a file that I know I didn't put on there, and it was just a simple name, a simple text file, and it had the chess game from a few years ago. It had my credit card, some of my old credit card information, and MySpace profile information on it. And that made me realize that this wasn't a game. This wasn't just some just some basic virus or something. This was like, there was definitely a hacker or something worse that had breached into my computer and was trying to let me know that he had this information for whatever reason. And, if you've researched gang stalking, these people are kind of crazy, and they let you know what they're doing. They want to let you know that you're being watched and that they have your information. And if you try to tell people about this stuff, of course, it just comes across as you're just nuts. And, that's exactly what they want. So after I realized my computer was being hacked into and it was more than just a virus, various other things started happening around the same time period. And whoever was doing it was trying to kind of freak me out and unnerve me a little bit. What I also noticed is when I was trying to do Google searches, how other targets are talking about how when you're having a conversation with somebody else, they'll bring up things that only you thought about, but they'll bring it up in a conversation in like a weird way to let you know that that other people are in on this thing and kind of relaying information that they know about you in odd ways. Well, what happened is when I would do a Google search, it would come back with information that had nothing to do with what I was searching for. Like, I would just search for tomatoes or something just to make something up, and the search results wouldn't have anything to do with tomatoes. They would actually be relaying information that whoever was hacked into my computer wanted me to see. Like, I would search for tomatoes, and then I would get all these links, talking about, like, I see what you're doing in the kitchen or something, just really creepy stuff like that. Or like, something uncomfortable that happened the day before, like in the middle of a web page, it would show information related to that. I know it just sounds really nuts, and it's really uncomfortable to talk about, but this is the kind of stuff that happened to me, and this is when I realized this electronic harassment stuff was not a joke. And this is actually before I even realized what was going on. This was the very beginning of this whole ordeal.
Okay, we're going to go to his part 3. See if I can find it here. Early experiences. Actually, that was part 1. This will be part 2. And then he has a part 3 after that. This will be part 2, and then part 3 will be after this one. Let me switch back to the screen. Here we go.
I would go almost a week without a single letter. And, usually I get at least a couple letters a day. So I think that was to kind of heighten my paranoia about what was going on with the computer and everything, because that's right around the same time it happened. Also around that same time, that's when I first realized what was going on with the organized harassment, like as far as out on the street with people, because I was looking to go to work one morning, and I had a station wagon, and the gas cap was off. It was just like laying on the ground, I went to go, I went to leave, and I'm like, how come where's the gas cap? I don't see it. And then I realized it was on the ground, and I'm like, I was thinking, like, was someone trying to siphon off my gas or something? Like, I had never, I had lived a really low key life up to that point, where I always try to avoid controversy. I do not try. I've never pissed anyone off as far as I know. I avoided confrontations at all costs. So when something like that happened, along with all the computer stuff that was going on and my mail being delayed, I realized that there was something really bizarre going on. And this is when I started looking online. But I wasn't looking at, like most people look at the organized harassment portion first, because they notice that stuff, like, the conversations being repeated and stuff like that. But I didn't notice that was really subtle to me. I didn't notice any of that. What got me was the computer problems, because like I said, I was really into computers, and I knew some of the stuff I experienced just shouldn't be possible. So then I looked online, and then I don't know how, but I stumbled onto the microwave harassment. How they're talking about how they have these weapons that can go, they can have these modified microwaves that can go through the walls and affect your speech and your emotions and everything like that. And of course, when I first saw that, I'm like, that's some of that sounds like it could be possible, but like people wouldn't do that. That's like a stretch. I can't see that kind of stuff happening. So for a while there, it was off in the back of my mind as something really scary and interesting, but I'm like, no, that can't be going on. But then later on, like a month later, when this stuff kept happening, I kind of went back to it, because it intrigued me. So with all this new knowledge that I just started figuring out with electronic harassment, I also started noticing that a lot of stuff was happening on my other devices. It wasn't just my computer. Like, I would notice my phone, stuff would start happening too. The same kind of thing with the Google searches, coming up with, these hidden messages, trying to say, certain things to let you know that you're being watched, kind of stuff. And I'm like, and this was at the time when cell phones were just starting to get into the smartphone territory, but they weren't really there yet. So no one suspected like anything like this would be possible. So I even tried to mention it to a couple of people that was happening, but they weren't buying it. They're like, they knew about my virus problem, that I was having some weird problems with possibly a hacker on my computer. But then when I mentioned that it was happening on my phone too, they started thinking like, oh, this stuff's kind of weirding you out and stuff. And, I don't, they weren't going that far with it, and I couldn't blame them, because I couldn't believe it myself. I'm like, this is just crazy. I don't even know what's going on. It's like, and you don't even dare tell people about it because it's so bizarre. So when this stuff started happening on all sorts of various electronics devices, I started to get the feeling that I was somehow being tracked no matter where I went or what device I used. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, maybe this is a crazy thought, but if it seems like I'm being tracked on all these different electronic devices, no matter where I go, I'm like, what kind of technology could possibly be out there? Because I had been online and I'd seen, there'd been a few sites with a bunch of other people saying they've had the same experiences as me, with what seemed like people hacking into their computer and messing with them no matter where they went. And this went back like a decade or two. And I was like, well, you know, satellites have been around, you know, since at least the 80s, as far as I know. It's like, you know, I mean, this is a, and this was before I realized that I started realizing the government had problems and that there was dishonesty in it, but I thought no chance, you know, it's so corrupt that people are hacking into, or, you know, using satellite systems and stuff like that to harass people. I'm like, that's just science fiction crap, you know. But, you know, I'm like, just for the hell of it, you know, I'll do a search on Google. You know, and I just did a simple search, like, you know, electronic satellite harassment or something like that. And one of the first few links I came up with was John Hall, you know, with the satellite terrorism in America. And when I first saw it, I'm like, you know, this is probably some work of fiction. You know, this can't actually be real. But when you know, as I was reading the page, you know, he was mentioning a bunch of stuff. It's like, you know, who is this guy? This actually makes a lot of sense what he's talking about. I still don't believe it, but, you know, I'd like to learn more about this. And I think that's when I got to the point where I found out that, you know, this was all related. And then I found the organized gang stalking too, with all these people calling themselves TIs and targeted individuals. And that's when I really started finally putting everything together, that, you know, all these seemingly coincidental things were all kind of tied together. Back asleep, really tired again. An hour later, I'd be jolted up, awake again, and mentioning
Part 3 of his early experiences with gang stalking. Part 3.
Parts 1 and 2. And first of all, one of the things I forgot to mention is that I was in an apartment at the time. And this was actually an old house that the landlord turned into these. There were like only 5 apartments, and he one of them was rented out to me. And the first couple months or so that I was there was only one other person, and I didn't hear much from him. But then later on, there were like, eventually almost all the apartments ended up getting filled up. And at the time, you know, once again, I wasn't aware of anything that was going on. You know, I didn't know a lot. I didn't know about gang stalking. I didn't know about, you know, the bad stuff that's in your tap water or anything like that. So I didn't think anything out of the ordinary was going on. But I have a whole list of things here that I forgot to cover. One thing was, I was watching television, and I was watching Channel 4 or something, and I noticed when I was watching the channel, all of a sudden the channel changed, even though I didn't change the channel. You know, I didn't use the remote to change the channel or anything, but suddenly I noticed it was on Channel 5. And I'm like, that's weird. I know that there's no remote around me, so I don't know how that happened. But what was really weird is that when I went to look at the display on the TV to see what channel it was on, it said it was still on Channel 4, even though I was watching Channel 5. And as soon as I switched the channel and went to Channel 5, then Channel 5 was Channel 5 and Channel 4 was Channel 4. But I don't know how it happened, but for some reason I was on channel 4 and it got switched to channel 5, but it still said I was on channel 4. And this isn't the first time that happened. I thought, well, that was a weird coincidence, you know, or that was some weird thing that happened. But this would happen again where I'd be watching, like, you know, channel 9 and it would get switched to channel 11, even though I didn't change it, and it would still say it was on channel 9. So that's a really weird thing that happened. And then I also got phone calls from people. Like, I would get some prank calls, like somebody would call and I don't know, they would say, like, is Jeff there or something? That's not my name. And I would say, nope, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. She'd be like, oh, okay, sorry about that. And then she'd stop and she'd be like, hey, so what are you doing? I'm like, so I was just playing along. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm just watching television. What are you up to? And then, you know, she was trying to make it look like she was interested in me or something. But I played along for a little bit, but then I was like, whatever, you know, I got to go. I'm like, I'll see you later. I hung up the phone. And like an hour later, she'd call back again. And she would start, you know, going over the same things, like, so, you know, so what are you doing? You like, do you have a girlfriend and all this stuff? And I was like, okay, this is getting weird. I don't want you. I get that you're doing these prank calls, but you better not call back again. Okay. So I hung up, and ever since then, I guess she got the message and she didn't call back again. But I also had a bunch of other weird things where you get a bunch of wrong number calls that sound like they're accidental, but they were probably intentional. And another thing that happened, I had a neighbor that moved in, or in an apartment adjacent to me from across the hall. And one time he came in and he was asking, do you have any butter? We're out of butter. Do you have any butter? I was like, well, that's kind of weird. It's like, you know, why can't you just go to the store or something? So I'm like, okay, well, I have a little bit here. You can have this, whatever I have left here. And he's like, okay. And then, like, the next day he comes back in, and then he asked for something else. I can't remember what it was. But at that point, it was kind of weird. It was like, so I told him, like, well, why don't you go buy it if you really need it, you know? And he's like, oh, okay, sorry. I didn't really need it that bad. It's like, okay, that's weird. And then, let's see, I'm trying to find out something else that happened here. Oh, and then the same guy, like a week later or something, and at the time this happened, like I told you before in the previous parts of the videos, that I was having issues with my computer, and I was constantly trying to figure out what was wrong with it. Well, you know, just a coincidence, of course. He invited me into his apartment, and he was supposedly having problems with his computer. You know, he had it all tore apart in there, and he was going through it. He was telling me, like, well, this computer, I just can't get it to reboot. You know, I tried reinstalling Windows and everything. And, you know, and I'm like, well, I can't remember what it was, but it was some really silly problem where it was a really easy fix. And I'm like, this is all you have to do, okay? And then I left after that. He's like, okay, fine. And, you know, at the time, I just thought it was a little strange. I didn't suspect anything. But then later on, when I found out about this stuff, and, you flash back to this kind of stuff, and, like, you talk about, and you read on websites about people moving into apartments next to you and doing, asking you weird questions and getting weird phone calls. And, you know, that's when you start figuring out, no, that was intentional. That was not just, just a neighbor being weird or whatever. Now this is the part that gets really strange. At the time, I was having lots of problems falling asleep. Like, I just could not fall asleep no matter how hard I tried. I would like sit there and my eyes, I would close my eyes and I would get that caffeine sensation that they talk about where you can't fall asleep. It felt like, you just drank like all kinds of coffee and you just, for whatever reason, you cannot sleep. And I had only gotten like, a few hours of sleep the past few nights before that. So I'm like, I should be really tired right now. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to fall asleep. So that was really frustrating at the time. Another contributing factor that later I found out about is that I had my wireless router on and I had my computer on sleep. And that probably played a factor in keeping me awake, because they can use, it sounds bizarre, but they can somehow use, any electromagnetic field that's around you. They can manipulate it somehow to like keep you awake and stuff like that. But I had no idea about that kind of stuff at the time. I was completely clueless about all this stuff. But anyway, when I tried going to sleep, like I said, I could not. This happened for like, a week or two where I was only getting like a couple hours of sleep at night, if at all. Like I would just have my eyes closed the whole night and I never actually fell asleep. So I got to the point where I was so tired one night where, the sleep deprivation stuff that was going on didn't even affect me. I just fell into a hard sleep, but it would only last for like a couple hours. And then I would just be jolted awake, out of nowhere after like an hour or two of falling asleep. And when I woke up, I was really extremely thirsty. This happens to me now where I'll wake up and, you'll be thirsty for whatever reason. Like, I don't know if it's, microwaves or whatever, but this was really, really bad when I was in my apartment. I noticed it was like, 10, 20 times worse than it is now. And this was at the time when I was drinking lots of tap water and I didn't know about all the crap that they can put in there. So what happened is I would wake up and I'd be extremely dehydrated and thirsty. So I would go get a glass of water and I would just chug like a whole glass. And then I'd fall back asleep really tired again. An hour later, I'd be jolted up awake again. And I'd be extremely dehydrated, really thirsty. I'd go get a glass of water. I'd chug down the whole thing again. And the same thing. And the same thing would happen again. That cycle would repeat, like 3 times a night. I'm like, after a while, it's like, this is not normal. This is very weird. It's normal room temperature. It's like 70 degrees. There's no reason why I should be this thirsty. It just didn't make any sense at all. So I was really weirded out by that. But during the time this would happen too, sometimes I would wake up and I would be totally drenched from sweating. This wasn't just like, being a little overheated or something, or having having a nightmare waking up. This would just be like, I would just wake up and my whole forehead, or the whole back of my head would just be complete sweat. So something was making me dehydrate and sweat like crazy, and I could not figure out what was going on at the time.
All right, so that was part 3. He's got 2 more videos I'm going to do. One is his random thoughts and theories. I think it's on gang stalking. I haven't seen it yet. But we'll watch this one. And he's got 2 videos on microwave towers and electromagnetics. We'll see what his thoughts are, his overall thoughts. We'll see what we got here.
Hey, I'm wondering if anyone else out there gets the bizarre feeling that we're all in like this game and we're all being played for whatever reason. I know that sounds funny, but the reason I say that is because I can't understand how, these people that, supposedly control everything. And it's clear that they control, the banking system in Hollywood and all that stuff. But the people that are behind this evil genius, why would they have even thought about giving us access to the internet at all? I mean, I understand you can, from one standpoint, it makes sense because they want to use the internet so they can further control people and further brainwash people. It's like, another way of, I don't know, hypnotizing people, just like television. But still, if people never had access to the internet, I don't think we'd even have a shot at figuring out what's going on. So that's why it just dumbfounds me. It makes me wonder if it's like on purpose, like this is all a game where they want us to find out about them and what's going on for some weird reason. Or I don't know, you could say it's like a sick thing where they know they have a bunch of, people under control, and they know there's always going to be those people that know what's going on, and they're just it's just like a form of torture, by letting people that know what's going on, but having us get frustrated that we can scream till you're blue in the face to people that don't know what's going on and they just don't care. And I'm not at all saying I believe this. I mean, I'm just trying to come up with theories to try to explain what's going on, because to me, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I just don't understand how it just seems like it's too easy, just like with YouTube and everything, it's so easy to just find any video of what's going on. And I mean, yeah, occasionally a video will get taken down, or, they might, views get and likes and stuff and dislikes get messed with and stuff like that. And the occasional whistleblower gets knocked off, but it still seems like they're giving us like way too much of a chance. I mean, I don't know. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they just, maybe they're just maniacs and they made a huge mistake, and now they realize that, that they got way too arrogant, and now they're caught with their pants down, and now they're trying to undo what they did, and it's kind of falling apart on them. I mean, I hope that's really the case. I'd love that if that were the case, but I don't know. I mean, who knows what's going on? It's just all really weird right now. It's frustrating because I get tired of this conspiracy bull crap too. I just want to live a so-called normal life, but you go somewhere with somebody and they're chowing down on GMO pizza and they're drinking high fructose corn syrup, beverages. And then they're asking the person next to them, hey, can you believe what you saw on CNN today? I mean, no matter what you do, you can't get away from it. It's like, I just don't care. I'm not going to go back and just forget that, any of this is going on. And I couldn't if I tried, and that's what's really frustrating is you don't want to be thinking about this stuff all the time, but it's like, you don't really have a choice. It's in your face, whether you like it or not. I'm harder on myself more than anybody. There's so many things I could have done and should have done, but for whatever reason, I didn't do it. But I guess even with all my flaws, at least I'm, curious about what's going on or what can be done to try to make things better, to not go the direction that we're going. I guess what I'm trying to say is that at this point, I hope what's going on in the world really does have to do with the spiritual or the supernatural at this point, because I don't want to believe, I guess, that people are this apathetic and that people have lost their spirits this much. that they've just kind of, stopped caring. At least with something supernatural or some kind of spiritual explanation, at least maybe it's something that was just designed in the beginning and this is the way it was supposed to happen, and there really isn't a whole lot people can do. But I'm still not a person that's just gonna, say, oh, I'm just gonna leave it up to God or, whoever. I still think people should fight, against whatever, just whatever people should be fighting for whatever's right, and not just giving in and just saying, well, I'm just going to wait for, something to happen, and hopefully things will work themselves out. I just don't agree with that at all. I wonder how many people like me just started finding out all the truth all at once. And I don't mean all the truth, because obviously it's never ending and no one knows everything. But I mean finding out everything you can possibly know at one time. Because what happened to me is just one day, I was just like everybody else. I was just, I watched television, I was into sports and all that other, meaningless stuff. And suddenly I got a wake-up call. My computer started getting hacked into, my mail started getting delayed, all kinds of stuff would happen that I just couldn't explain. And I read all about it, and I'd show people, and no one would believe it or want to talk about it. So I'm like, if all this weird, unexplainable stuff is happening, then I wonder if those weirdos that were talking about 9/11 being an inside job, I wonder if they're right. So then I went online and I actually looked into it. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, obviously the planes could not have disintegrated, in a few seconds from a couple plane hits. I mean, what the heck was I thinking? But that's what happens. And I think the reason why people don't look into that stuff is because they're afraid they're going to be played as a fool. Like someone's going to find out that they were looking into that stuff and that they're going to be wrong. And they're going to be like, haha, you idiot, you were looking into that stuff. I can't believe you felt for that. And I think it's just sad, because if people just looked into it for a minute, they would find out that all those crazy people, were right and then some. Because, like I said, I started finding it out all at once, because after I had all that stuff happen to me, then I looked into, started looking at 9/11 videos, and then I started seeing, conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura and stuff, and I started, even though that TV show was presented in a really strange way, trying to make people look like goofballs, that believe in 9/11 basically, or they wouldn't allow it on TV. But the message was there. Like, he's talking about the black boxes, and it's like all those are supposed to be standard on the commercial aircraft. And for some reason they couldn't find any of them on the planes at the crash site. I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. And all that other stuff that didn't make any sense. So, and then after that, as I was searching for Jesse Ventura, then I, stumbled into Alex Jones, and I found a bunch of his videos on there. Just real quick, I'm just going to say, all the people that are bad-mouthing Alex Jones, doesn't it get old when every single website you go to, like, everyone seems to say that, oh, they've exposed him, he works for the Vatican or whatever. And it's like, the thing that's funny is they never really have an argument. That's the only thing they ever say. They just say the same thing over and over. But okay, say he even is like, the secret, this sleeper secret agent. It's like, yeah, but what about all the other stuff that, that he put out there that's good? Like, he was the main reason that people started figuring out about fluoride in their water and vaccines and all that kind of stuff. It's just like people are falling for this trick where, well, he could work for them. So don't even bother, looking at anything else that he's talking about. Just forget him and just, it's like, okay. And like, yeah, you're going to just trust these random people on YouTube. It's like they know the truth, obviously, more than anybody else. So that's the thing that's really bugging me about the so-called truth movement right now is that people are falling into that trap where they're just, blindly accusing people of shills, at every turn. And it's like, yeah, anyone could be, but you don't want to just, not look at anything and just, arrogantly think that all your information is correct and nobody else matters. That's what they want. They want people infighting and, never focusing on the prize ahead, on what's actually going on. What I'm getting at is that everyone has something good to say, whether or not, a certain individual has an agenda of any kind. You take the good information from one guy and then you go to another guy and see if that matches up with what the previous guy said. You do cross-referencing and then you figure out what makes sense to you. I mean, David Icke has good things to say. Jordan Maxwell has good things to say. I mean, there's just all kinds of people. You have to put it all together. So is it just a matter of worldwide mass mind control, or is it by design?
In the middle of my pie. All right, so he's got a couple of videos here on electromagnetics. This one here is going to be cell towers and electromagnetics. We're going to put his video on.
In this video, I'm going to tell you what I learned about ELF.
ELF. Okay, we're going to get into the ELF. What he's learned about electromagnetics.
Waves and microwaves and what I plan to do about it. Now, the only good magnetic waves come from your body and the earth. That's why when you get away from all the man-made magnetic waves that are caused by all your wireless devices and you go outside, you feel a million times better because you're connecting with the earth, because your body is operating right around the exact frequency. The problem with man-made ELF waves, like the ones that are transmitted from the HAARP towers, are that they operate on the same frequency as your body. And this is a problem because your body will get confused and think it's signals from your body when it's actually coming from an outside source. So that can interfere with your heart and, just about anything in your body and cause huge problems. Now, the other big problem with these ELF waves is they travel extremely long distances and they seem to be able to go through just about anything. That's why there's only, a half dozen HAARP towers across the world, and it can cover the entire globe because it's such a long wave frequency and it can go through metal and just about anything. Also, microwaves from your wireless devices and cell towers can become a huge problem because this electromagnetic radiation fills the sky. And as it goes through your walls and enters into your house, it can also get into it's conductive to metal. So for example, I have a box spring mattress like most people have, and that accumulates as the microwaves keep bombarding your house. It actually heats up the coils in your bed and goes up through the bed into you. And that's why a lot of these target individuals or just people in general are having problems sleeping and waking up in the middle of the night. And I'll show you like mine here. Get this going. See, mine has the coils, hundreds of huge coils on the bottom of my bed, as you can see here. And those heat up everything. And that's why I have problems sleeping at night. And you feel like, slight burns every now and then. It's because of all the electromagnetic and microwave energy that builds up under your bed. Now, if you're a targeted individual or even someone just concerned about your health and you can afford it, this is something called a radio frequency meter that you really can't do without. This meter is specifically designed for measuring microwaves from 200 megahertz to 8 gigahertz. So you're also going to want another meter that's just as important for measuring magnetic fields. This is a tri-field meter here. And see, if you go to electric, you can find your electric fields in your wall, like so. It'll tell you that you don't want to be standing next to a wall a lot. You're going to be exposed to these magnetic fields. So you're going to want to stay at least a foot or so, if not more, away from the wall. So this is also really valuable. These are two things you're going to want to have. Now I'm going to show you how bad the electromagnetic waves are in my house. As you can see in the kitchen, it's ridiculously high, and there's a reason for that. It's because my next door neighbor has a cordless phone that's right up against his wall. And of course, microwaves can go right through walls. So that's what this is picking up. You'll see this get really high, to the top of the scale. Now this is my microwave tower of death that's located about 300 or so yards away from my house. This is what's responsible for probably keeping me up at night. A lot of times I'll wake up at like 3 a.m. on the nuts, and you get these little tingling, burning sensations when you're trying to sleep. So if I'm sitting at the table in the center of the deck, I'm going to be exposed to over 1 volt a meter on my own deck. So that's pretty bad. And also what I want you to pay attention to is there's an average listed in microwatts per meter, and then there's a volts per meter, which shows your peak of the microwaves. But this shows you the average. Now these are totally different units of measurement, but I'm going to show you the ratio here because I'm going to compare the radiation from the cell tower to the decked phone in my house, just to give you an example of how much more radiation the cell phone tower puts out than my phone. So I'm going to try to find an average of about 100 here. Except it's higher than that right here. Okay, so this is in the 100 range, and it's putting out 0.5 volts per meter. Now this is my cordless decked phone, which is known for giving off some of the highest constant levels of radiation for wireless devices in the home. And what I'm going to do here is put my meter right where it transmits. And notice I have some of the lowest readings in the house right here, so this should be a pretty accurate measurement. I'm going to plug this in. You'll notice instantly when it kicks in, it's way over the max of 6 volts a meter. And it seems like it's a high average, but let's go back here. Now remember that reading I gave you from the cell phone tower, that was around 100 microwatts and 0.5 volts a meter. Notice with this one, if I can get it here. Okay, this is about what it was on the cell tower. Now it's reading 100 microwatts just like the cell tower was in microwatts per square meter, but it's nearly 3 times the voltage. So that tells you, now think about, put that in perspective. I'm only a couple feet away from this cordless phone that's giving off a third of the radiation of what I'm getting from the cell tower, and the cell tower is about 300 yards away from my house. So that gives you an idea of how powerful those things are. Now this corner of the room might look like a NASA space station, but this is actually called Mylar, And this is really cheap way of shielding, and it does an excellent job of it. It reflects something like 90% of the heat that comes at it. So it's actually a good insulator too. And I'm going to prove to you that it works. See, most of this here is under 1 microwatt per square centimeter. Oh. And some of it's leaking through right now. I'm getting about an average of 2 microwatts per square centimeter. But now I'm going to open it up and look behind it. This is hard to hold at the same time. All right. And you can see, look how it shoots up. I'm actually not. Okay, so anyway, I'm getting about 16 under there. Close it up. It drops back down to 2. Now, while shielding with Mylar and tinfoil and stuff is a cheap, effective way to shield, obviously, to the average person, you're going to look insane when they come over to your house. So you don't really want to have all this for them to see. So the next one of the options I'm going to consider, it's an expensive one, but it'll be well worth it in the long run, is to have something called electromagnetic paint. That will cover my whole wall all the way down here, and it'll block most of the radiation. It'll block like 95% of all the stuff coming from the neighbors. And I could even do this wall here, and then they even have stuff that you can put over your windows. There's some kind of fabric you can put over that'll also block things out. So as long as you get the walls where most of the radiation is coming from, you can do a good job of blocking most of it. Now, this is the ground for my electricity in my house. Anyone that remotely knows anything about grounding is probably going to look at this right away and realize there's something wrong here with this picture. And there's 2 major problems here. The first one is that there's no reason for them to have ran the copper wire back through the house, back into the house, and then what they did is they drilled a hole through the concrete, and then the rod is stuck through the earth. But this is probably going to provide a really poor ground. Even though I do have an outlet tester and I tested on my outlets and it says I have a good ground, what it doesn't tell you though is that it might only be a 10% ground, and it might be a really poor ground, but all it registers is that it's grounded. And just think, if you get a massive lightning bolt outside and you have electricity running through this copper wire from the outside, and now not only is it passing through the insulation, which could catch on fire, but then it's also, all this could catch on fire, which could, burn the house down. But the other major problem about this is that if you're not getting a total 100% solid ground, you're going to end up with stray electricity in your house that's going to stay in your electrical wiring. And the obvious problem with this is that electricity is always searching for a ground to go into. And if you have stray electricity that's not reaching the earth and going through the ground, guess what? It's going to go through you. When you're walking around the house, with all the electrical wires that are around you and all the magnetic fields, when you're stepping on the ground, you're the path of least resistance, so it's going to find you and use you as a ground, since there's none other available. So you can see why this is a major problem.
Gang stalking agenda videos. This is one of the first ones. It's 9 years old. I'm going to play that one after his last electromagnetic video. Where is it at? I lost it. Okay, here it is. I think it's the one with the cell towers. think this video is like switched up on me. It's really weird. Something just happened to my computer. All right, so I think it's going to be, I don't want to watch the same one twice. It was the shorter one of the two, so it'll be this one here. This is a short one that we're going to play for you guys. Okay, that was the end of that one. Now he's got an older video that I have not seen, so I'm going to share it with you guys. It is, it's going to be a video called The Organized Gang Stalking. It's a real old clip here. It looks like it was from probably 1999. It's like a Infowars.com gang stalking video. I might have seen it like 10 years ago and just don't remember it. But I'm going to play this one here.
And go to our guest for the next hour and 20 minutes. Rosa Corey is executive director of the Post Sustainability Institute. She's a forensic commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain evaluation. Her 30 years of experience analyzing land use and property value enabled her to recognize the planning revolution sweeping the country. While fighting to stop a huge redevelopment project in her city, she researched the corporate, political, and financial interests behind it and found Agenda 21. Impacting every aspect of our lives. UN Agenda 21 Sustainable Development is a corporate manipulation using the green mask of environmental concern to forward a globalist plan. You said it, corporate fascism. But again, it's corporate globalism. People say fascism's only nationalistic. In the 30s and 40s it was. Fascism is mega corporations taking over your government and shutting down their competition, okay? That's what it is. The New World Order is a global fascist banking cartel takeover of the planet. Continuing here, UN Agenda 21 Sustainable Development is a corporate manipulation using the green mask of environmental concern to forward a globalist plan. Rosa speaks across the nation as a regular blogger on her website, Democrats Against UN Agenda 21. Both parties have been totally taken over by the globalists. That's why Mitt Romney supports Agenda 21, so does Obama. And the simplest boil down is, on Agenda 21, they shut down all the other coal plants that aren't owned by GE and a few other insiders, and then double or triple the power prices. And say it's for the earth. That's what you're seeing. That's one example of we're going to double, triple charge it's for the earth. They actually say that in Austin 2 weeks ago. It's for the earth. They increased it 40% last year. Now this year they say, depending on what type of you have, residential, business, church, nonprofit, 20 to 80% increase in 1 year. But the big Formula One globalist out there, he's actually getting a grant from the city and the construction paid for and tax breaks, and they're calling it environmental to build a race car track out in the woods and cut everything down. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. So she joins us. She's the author of the Green Mask or Behind the Green Mask. It's available right now. Just went up on the shopping cart at Infowars.com, and it's a Bible to give. It's 180 pages or whatever to give people in your towns, your cities who don't understand what's happening. Even a lot of the minions at the city level don't know what's going on. Okay, Rosa, this show has some longer segments. You'll have some time to roll. I want you in this segment and the next to tell us how you woke up, the basics of Agenda 21, why the New York Times and others are coming out panicking, saying folks are waking up, how important this is, and then we're going to take an hour of calls from people and their questions across the country next hour. Rosa Koire, good to have you here with us.
Great, Alex. It's great to be with you. You know, I'd like to just start for 1 minute just by saying, yes, our group, our website is Democrats Against UN, agenda21.com. But of course, this is not a left-right issue. It's not a Democrat-Republican issue. This is an issue for all Americans and all people in the world, because United Nations Agenda 21 is a globalist takeover plan. It's a plan that inventories and controls all resources, both human and natural, and all means of production in the world. It is the action plan for the 21st century, and that's what the United Nations calls it. So people who, you know, of course I get people who say, how can you call yourselves Democrats? Don't you know about the Democrats? Of course I do. The point is to show that this is a united fight. It's all Americans, and there's way too few people on the left. I'm a left liberal. There are way too few people who on the left who are aware that the environmental movement has been hijacked and is being manipulated. This is not an environmental protection plan. This plan is a plan to destroy everything that you value in your world. It's a way to take over your control of your land. And you know, when we talk about private property, this is a control of private property. It's a takeover. It's a movement of moving your private property from individuals into the mega corporations. And when you see that, you understand that you yourself are your ultimate private property. And this is a way to take control of your civil liberties as well. And tying in with what you said about the New York Times and other propaganda press doing what they can to destroy this movement of people who are waking up to United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development and trying to stop it. What's happening now is, of course, the press is attacking us viciously. I've had vicious articles written about me. All kinds of people are saying ridiculous things. And of course, the American Planning Association, which is vital to this movement to take over your land and your water use and your control of your property, they have put out a new communications boot camp. And it's a 12-week seminar on how to control and manage the press and how to reframe this issue, because they know people are waking up. So we need to stand up together. We can stop it, but we have to get rid of these minor issues. And I'm talking about the minor issues of who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, who's gay, who's straight, all these issues.
They use that as a football. They use that to distract us, and then people end up supporting Santorum over Ron Paul because, you know, he talks more about abortion when he intends to do nothing on the right, or people that are obsessed about the whole gay marriage thing instead of all the other huge things that are going on the left. I absolutely agree, but let me just add this to what you're saying. The fact that they're attacking shows that we're having an effect, A. B, Al Gore's been discredited. Schwarzenegger pushing this has been discredited. They're in trouble right now, and they've got the 20th anniversary of this Agenda 21, as you know, about to happen back in Rio again. But this is about private property. They openly come out and say, we're going to take your private property. People would say no, but they call it environmental. And we see it now where you can't build a barn. They've got drones watching the farmers. I mean, this is the Rural Council of Obama. That's right out of Agenda 21. Please continue with the things it's doing to people, the plans of Agenda 21.
Yeah, well, you said it. You know, the White House Council, the White House Rural Council, which was established by executive order by President Obama, is modeled on the President's Council for Sustainable Development, which was created to instate United Nations Agenda 21 in the United States. Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century, it's also called Sustainable Development. It was an agreement. It was signed on to by George H.W. Bush and 178 other national leaders back in 1992. And, you know, you're going to see in the press that, oh, this is an old plan. It was non-binding. It doesn't matter. But the truth is that they brought it right back into every single nation and they instated it. It's the action plan. It's the action plan. And, you know, you're going to see in the press that, oh, this is an old plan. It was non-binding. It doesn't matter. But the truth is that they brought it right back into every single nation and they instated it. It's the action plan. for sustainable development. And it is, you're seeing it now because it has been a stealth plan over the last 20 years. And they're in the end game now. And that's why we need to, drop our nonsense, our minor issues, and get together across the world and fight this. And we can win. We can do it because it's a global plan, but it's implemented locally.
Well, the elites have put out memos, like you said, and I'm not saying some of these issues aren't important, but they call them footballs. They throw them out so that the system can agree on global government, the whole fascist system, and they admit it. But going back to the UN, as you point out, they admit this is the global plan. They admit it's a post-industrial world to shut off people's resources, so you have to go to government and be dependent so you can be socially engineered. But also part of Agenda 21 and UNESCO is global standardization of law enforcement, federalizing, and in England's already done this. Now the U.S. is adopting a quasi-cop, near minimum wage goon force. Again, they have this in England that harass people and ask folks what they're doing in parks. DART, Dallas Police TSA offers security help at latest violence. And now because there's crime because of increased poverty, now the TSA is going to be in Dallas. Now they're going to be in San Francisco. Now they're going to be in Tampa. They're everywhere. Federal, non-sworn officers out of their jurisdiction. The answer, again, this is, and if the feds take over, the feds themselves are under this global system. We're being conquered here, Rosa.
Alex, it's worse than that because those guys are wearing uniforms and at least you can recognize them. But the truth is that the way the plan is designed, well, of course you have community-oriented policing. That's in every, single community. You find those little offices. Those guys are operating under the Department of Justice. Then you've got your, I was just looking at DeKalb County, Georgia. They are making sort of your local citizen into a code enforcement ambassador. You've got people in small cities, in small neighborhood associations that are actually working with the city to get all of your information on you. They're actually toadies, they're shills. They're creating these asset-based community development programs where you are the asset and you will be doing mandatory volunteering. If you want to know how Agenda 21 impacts you right now, take a look at Sonoma County. That's where I live. It's a rural county. We're about an hour north of San Francisco.
Bohemian Grove.
The county supervisors have just announced that out of the 1,384 miles of rural roads, they will only be paving 150 miles. And the rest of those roads will be pulverized to gravel.
Unbelievable.
That is going to have a tremendous impact on people's property value, on your ability to get to your property.
I want to stop you right there. We're going to come back from break and continue on what this is going to do. But I hope people are listening here because when she talked about this the other day, I went and looked it up because I heard her on the radio and I knew they were doing this. They said they destroy the roads. They have that map we'll show, a UN map of half the U.S. off limits. And they say the rewilding is first they go to dirt, then they're going to start making you have a special permit to travel in there. And when you hear 100 and something miles in that county, it is hundreds of little roads. I've been there many times covering Bohemian Grove. It's concrete roads, up stuff so steep, without it you couldn't make it. I mean, that is beautiful wine country, beautiful homes everywhere. This is the sabotaging of our infrastructure. It is high treason. And we're going to get into these toady spies because I've run into them. They hire spies. All right, we're back live. This is a short segment. And we're going to start the third hour and continue for just a segment or more, getting into what it's going to do and then expand. But out in East Texas, where we've got a family ranch, multiple times they tried to build a new coal power plant, and they sent little Nature Conservancy minders and others to literally go door to door to do all sorts of stuff, to harass people, to threaten people. And they are so creepy, and they're operatives, and they act like they're citizen activists. And so I guess you've run into these little toadies yourself, and then continue with how many miles of roads you've got out there and what they're planning to do. Rosa.
Everyone has run into to these people, and they're, what does it take for someone to be, to go along, to get along? It takes, maybe for someone it's just to appoint them to a board or a commission or to promise them a contract, or just give them a pat on the back and tell them how important they are to the city. You know, there are plenty of people out there who are willing to be obedient servants of this plan. People who are maybe also getting money, people who buy in totally to this plan. And I really have compassion for people who are environmentalists who really think that this plan is about the environment. It is not. If it didn't sound so good, we wouldn't all be falling for it. It's a manipulation plan. It is a totalitarian plan. So yes, they are pulverizing. You're talking about they have no money here in Sonoma County to pave our roads. You know, what do your taxes go for? What do you want from a county? You want them to pave your roads and, you know, do a few things like that. Well, they're not going to be paving around 1,200 miles of roads here in Sonoma County. And if you can't get to your property, what does that mean? It means you'll be coming into the cities. There are already 60 million acres of roadless land in the United States. And the plan is to keep you out of the rural areas, keep you out of the forested areas, move you into the city centers where you can be surveilled, controlled, manipulated, and managed. And I know this sounds crazy, but you know what? The plan is crazy. We are not crazy. We are recognizing, we are reporters of what is going on. There are people in neighborhood associations who are actually working for instance, the Lung Association. The California Lung Association has an advocacy arm for smart growth. When you want to find these people in your community, put their name in your search engine with ICLEI, that's ICLEI, that's the International Council of Local Environmental Initiatives, or put it in with smart growth, or put it in with sustainable development. See what comes up.
And by the way, they've now put their signs up at many of the hike and bike trail entrances to Austin as if they made the hike and bike trails. So they're all, I mean, they're putting their gang sign up where I live.
You know, these are your tax dollars. Now, I ride a bike, you ride a bike, bicycles are great, but the bicycle coalitions are the shock troops for sustainable development. If you go to my website, which is DemocratsAgainstUNAgenda21.com, and you read about it, it's also in my book, which is Behind the Green Mask, UNAgenda21.com. I talk about how the bicycle coalitions partner with huge low-income housing developers, and then the average guy in the bike coalition doesn't know anything about this. I'm talking about the people who are running it. They are working hand in glove with these enormous developers of low-income housing. That's what's getting built in the center of your city with your tax subsidies, and these are developments that are called smart growth. This is the preferred development plan for United Nations Agenda 21.
All right, stay there. I want to talk about what they're doing here in Austin. It's incredible what the bike riders are doing. All right, we're going to be taking your calls on Agenda 21 coming up here in about 10 minutes or so, but we're continuing here. And I don't want to continue after the break because some stations don't carry this first 5 minutes. XM does, and about half our affiliates do. We're talking to author of Behind the Green Mask, Agenda 21, available at Infowars.com. Hope you get it, folks. And while you're at it, get my film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, that tells you the rest of the story about once the global government's in place, the Agenda 21, the super unions, the breakdown of the borders, the forced inoculations. It's all their documents. Rosa Koire, author and researcher, a forensic investigator, a forensic commercial real estate appraiser, joins us. You were getting into the bike people. They're real aggressive. They're told to do this like a cult by the local bike groups. They're all big environmentalists. Well, they're not real environmentalists. They're shock troops who believe in this. They get out in the main roads and try to block you in groups. It's not critical mass where they're fighting back people who don't like bikes, but it's kind of that attitude. And they cut in front of you, and now they're like on, say, 6th Street. They've shut down part of the lane. It's a giant bike lane. And instead of pulling in to park in those businesses now, they make you go around and back in, which is super dangerous. And I've talked to the businesses there. It's destroyed their business. And then they take a bunch of parking spaces out and mandate little bitty parking and then bike parking. And it's just incredible how aggressive they are. But don't worry, bike riders. America's going to collapse. You're not going to have a job. You're going to have to ride a bike. So don't worry. You run things. But I mean, you're correct. They are little gang members for them now. Please continue.
Yeah, this is the truth. And I ride a bike. Like I say, I'm not talking about that riding a bicycle is a bad thing. What I'm saying is that the bicycle coalitions are being used as the shock troops to demand this kind of development. And also, you're talking about that reverse back into your parking space. That is dangerous. These bike boulevards are dangerous. If you're a bike rider, these are dangerous for you. But we're not talking about what's actually good for a bicycle rider. We are talking about a globalist plan that remakes your city to a specific model. This is not only in the United States, it's all across the United States and all across the world. And you'll see these plans. They are, they're called One Bay Area. They're called 4 states, one vision. They often have the word vision in them, or they might be your city 2050 or your city 2035. They're planning out to 2050. This is the planning, what we're looking at is a planning revolution here. And it's a totalitarian plan that they're implementing. I want to let people know that totalitarian plans all share, every totalitarian plan, whether it was under Stalin or Hitler or Mao, they all share the same elements. And you will recognize it here in your country, wherever you live. You'll see that there's being a takeover and a total control of all land use, of your educational system, of means of production, all of your resources, okay? Also, you'll see it's all for the common good. It's all for the fatherland. It's all for the homeland. It's all for everyone's good, right? The individual will lose against this. You see the scarcity mentality. Oh, there's not enough. You have to restrict yourself. You have to conserve. Am I a pig? Do I want to use everything up? No, but we're talking about, this is a totalitarian design.
Well, this is about them controlling who they dole it out to. This is about them setting the standards of your light bulb, your toilet, your parking space, your roads, destroying your roads. And they admit to shut you down to make you poor so they can control you. They all brag about it. They're a pack of scum.
Well, here's another element. Okay, there's 5 elements in the totalitarian plan.
Stay there. Start over when we come back. Start over, recap how they're doing it on the other side, and then phone calls. We'll do one more segment, just going over it, then your phone calls. And for folks that are holding, we're going to get to you. We'll be right back. And again, the book is Behind the Green Mask, Agenda 21. It's available right now at Infowars.com. You support Rosa Koire. You support Infowars.com. So be sure and get the book and get it out to everybody.
All right, so that was Agenda 21. I'm going to play this story this lady has about gang stalking and bees. We're going to switch subjects here. This is about the honeybee gang stalker story. This might be my last one. I'm probably going to play tonight, unless anybody wants to come up and speak their truth on the TI matter at hand. But this is a nice little story. I liked it.
Okay, so the gang stalking. Hold on. Okay, so the honeybee bank gang stalking story. So I'll show you a clip and rolling first into the day that we delivered the honey. Well, there was 2 different days, and the one day in particular, it goes. I'll show you the parking lot and the guys like unloading it and shit, just to get a general idea of the landscape. Okay, so I pull up where my truck is pulled up there in that scene, and this other black truck's already waiting for me. Okay, before we get to this point, I'll just tell you that my truck door went like the doors don't work anymore, so we gotta undo the frickin' window to open the door. Because nice gang stalkers like to do their little bullshit to the vehicle and loosen stuff up, and then it all fucks up. Who knows, right? Whatever, motherfuckers. And then, okay, so knowing that, like, oh boo-hoo, I'm supposed to feel so sad for myself because I can't get that fixed. I got many thousands of other fucking things to worry about rather than my fucking truck door fucking bullshit. Like, whatever. Okay, so that's the way I kind of feel about it. So I pull up, and there's this truck waiting for us right there. Right, so that when I open my door, this goof is standing there. So I undo the window to open the door, and he's like, "Time for a new truck, eh?" I mean, who says that to a stranger? Like, I mean, do I look like some construction doofus that just pulled up on the scene? No. I'm here with my best friend today and my son to deliver some freaking honey. And you get some jock motherfucker standing there so that he's scripted to say to me, "Yeah, need a new truck, eh?" I says, "Oh no, she's good to me, she's good to me," didn't let this goof fucking bother me. And then before he could start rambling on, because my window's undone, my kid's getting his honey out and all this shit. And so I just picked up my mail that was sitting in the console and started ignoring him, making it look like I'm busy. I got other shit to do. Didn't worry about what he's gonna fucking come up with next. Well, then he gets in his vehicle, slams the door, and like speds like is fucking tired to get out of there, and then leaves. Well, that's really nice. Okay, so he's gone. Gang stalker number 1. And how did that happen? Because it was a planned appointment. It wasn't spontaneous. It was a planned appointment. We're bringing a barrel of honey out to the farm. Okay, great. See you there at 11 or whatever the hell the scoop is. So we have ways of tracking shit a lot easier when it's planned events. Anyway, so we get there, do all that, deal with that, Jack, and then head back to the city. Get back to the city, and today will be the day we open up a bank account for you. Hey, my son? Yeah, my son. Yeah, we're all proud and gonna go to the bank and open up a bank account for his first bank account and all this shit so he can put his check in and, all this. And bam, here's the next setup. Okay, as people know me, others may not, but I've had this thing in my videos about Cheers, the old show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Do, 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 do. So that's like in other videos of my shit prior to all this. Those of you who know me will know what the hell I'm talking about. Others are just learning now. That's fine. And anyway, so we're standing in the middle teller. There's a teller on one side. We get the middle one. There's another one or two on this side. Well, so we're doing our thing, getting him his bank account, and parent needs to sign shit and stuff, And then gang stalker number 1, number 1 pulls up on this side of me. This is number 2. Number 1 pulls up on this side of me, and okay, the boy's check was like for $1,500 or some shit, right? So, the fuckers, yo, this bitch goes over here and she's like, yo, well, I'm gonna withdraw $1,500 today. 15, yes, I said 15. She's carrying on about $1,500 with this fucking teller. Okay, fine, that's kind of whatever. It's, I mean, the boy's check is 1,500 and something. That's kind of coincidental, but it's even more coincidental when on this side of me, some clown goof fucking guy now with a goof hat standing there. Ho, ho, ho. He's trying to figure out what to do. He's looking on his phone. He's at the teller. The teller is waiting patiently, and he's looking. And then, oh yeah, so let's do this, he says. I'm like, let's do what? All of a sudden he's letting everybody know, let's do this. So one of those like talk from the gut because we don't know who we're gang stalking for sure. It could be this girl or the next one. Oh, anyway, so fucking around. And then he's like, okay, let's do this. And he's okay. I want to transfer $1,500 from one account to another account. So, okay, that's fine and dandy. I mean, if the whole fucking bank has to know. Anyways, the other thing is with the Cheers deal. Everybody knows your name. I look up and they've got a coffee mug sitting there staring at me now at this point because I kind of picked up on the two stalkers and now I'm noticing other things, high alert on everything now. And I notice this cup and it says Cheers, where everybody knows your name. What the fuck does that have to do with the bank? Nothing. So whatever there, that's just how convenient situation with that shit. And then it just kept rolling a few other little minor detail things, but I thought that bank story was quite something. Not so much the guy at the waiting for me situation. That didn't surprise me at all. I'm like, okay, well, now that it's a planned event, we'll probably have some bullshit go down today, a little bit more than usual. Some kind of played out skits that they'll want to fuck around. So none of us were surprised when it did happen. But nice try, motherfuckers. Where everybody knows your name. Gang, gang, gang stalkers. Oh, 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 oh. And that Cheers logo is only from that show. It's not a song that you can find by an artist that plays it with, It's made for that show. I just want to throw that in there. So for it to be on a coffee cup at the bank, I look at that one as a totally how convenient, motherfucker. With this other clip of them unloading the honey just for the hell of it. I almost forgot. Watch this here. You might want to move one of the tires. Press your fingers. The weight come off the back of the truck. It's pretty cool shit. I missed doing this last time.
This last one is going to be, it's really good. It's going to be about this cop. It's on another TI channel. We're going to get rid of this one and play the police officer admits he's a gang stalker. I never saw this clip, so it's my first time watching this one. And we're going to play the police officer is a gang stalker.
This report. Why?
No, I will not.
Can I ask why?
I can't tell you.
Oh,
There's nothing.
he can't tell me. He can't tell me why he won't do that. Because I'm on a watch list, man, and I'm sick of it. So how do is there any way to get off this watch list? I'm on it for life? Really, eh? So what, do I have to move to another country or what?
Well, that might help, but then you might get put on one of their watch lists.
Probably not. Probably not.
I don't know, man. Can't help you.
Yeah, I didn't think you would. I told you there would be no help here. I tried. I'm going to tell you, you guys aren't going to make a statistic out of me. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to be real calm about it. So I'm going to go to human rights lawyers now and stuff, right? You see how they got the cops standing behind me here now, like I'm going to do something. Yes.
I mean, the best thing to do is just follow general duty. Because I don't work all the time. You don't work.
I knew nothing would happen. That's all right. I'm gonna take this up further. I'm not giving up. I'm fine what the hell's going on. So you won't investigate who's writing the report about me. Why not? Can I ask why not? All right, man. I think we got all we need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you too.
Right here. Look, they even got them fucking standing outside here, eh?
All right, somebody asked where they could find that video. I'm going to put it up here.
This fucker, eh?
Let me see if I can pull it down. This was from gangstalkingisacrime.com. So if you go to gangstalking, type in YouTube gangstalkingisacrime.com. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. All right, gangstalkingisacrime.com has that video on the cops. I'm going to play two more and probably wrap it up. We got one with the leaf blower from Gang Stalking Los Angeles. This leaf blower one is a classic. I watch a lot of her videos, but this is probably one of her better ones. She gets gang stalked by a leaf blower. This is pretty good. You guys are going to like this.
I just uploaded a video of this perp at the park making a beeline toward me in the parking lot with his leaf blower and stirring up a bunch of dust around my car. So I drove away and went to the other side of the park. So what does he do? He follows me all the way over to the other side of the park with his leaf blower, and now he's over here where I am. This is just literally like a few minutes from the last here he comes. Now he's coming toward my car again with a leaf blower. I'm not even in the same area. I was in a parking lot. The first video. And this is, I guess, part 2, where he's continuing to come at me and chase me down with his fucking leaf blower so he can blow more filth on my car. And you wonder why I go through so much gas in 1 week? It's because I can't park for longer than 5 minutes without these fucking perps terrorizing the living shit out of me. They're either I'll park somewhere just to like fucking, drink a cup of coffee or something, or to check my emails, and next thing you know, I got a fucking white truck pulling up next to me. It doesn't matter how empty the parking lot is. The parking lot could be completely empty, and next thing I know, I will have a white pickup truck parked next to me, or I'll park in within a couple minutes, a park and rec dude will start running toward me with a fucking leaf blower. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Oh fuck! I gotta roll. Oh my god! Shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! He just literally blew shit through my fucking window into my car. He just literally blew shit right in my fucking window. Oh god. I don't know if you saw that. He literally blew dirt inside my window, all over the right side of my car, in through my fucking open window. He literally followed me from one side of the park to the other. Oh, here he comes. He's coming back now. No, he's blowing. Nope, see? He's blowing shit at me again with this fucking thing.
I got to go back to the part where he gets her. Where's it
Here he
at?
is. Oh fuck! I gotta roll. Oh my god! Shit! He's. Oh my god! Oh my god! He just literally blew shit.
Terror. It was terror. And this guy says, "Can you hear the stalkers through the leaf blower shit?" I don't got too much else. We got this one that's really weird. This guy has X-ray of electronic signals in his body. And I found this one a few days ago. It's like a TikTok uploaded to YouTube. These are all the ones I was going to play the other night until we got into our chat. And the chat took over, so I didn't get a chance to play all these. But we're going to play this one for you here. This is some X-ray of electronic torture, supposedly. And that's about it for that one. I didn't understand that video, but I thought I'd play it. There's one here for Scotty here. I wanted to play for Scotty. Do you want to see a V2K video, Scotty? There's some guy's got a V2K recording. It's a 10-minute recording. We're going to put it on for you. See if this sounds like anything that you've heard. He's got a couple channels. But I'm going to play this. We're going to play this V2K video. He's got 10 minutes of V2K Proof Part 8. This is an 8-part series that he does on V2K. I'm sure you might have probably already seen these before. It's giving me a headache, to be honest with you. I can't take it. It's killing me. It's killing me. There's not a whole lot more that I had for tonight. There's this one thing I'm going to look at. YouTube gang stalking and chief handler. How long is this one? It's 2 minutes. Let's see what they got to say about chief handler. I've never seen this one, I don't think. I'm just playing random shit tonight. Let's see what the hell this is all about. The chief handler. It might be one I haven't seen.
Show up, or if you want me to come to your state, I will come to your state. I will provide the equipment. I will provide the money, and we will both sign a piece of paper at a gym saying that neither of us will sue the other and that this is consensual. And after that, if you win, I will delete my channel and I will never post another video, just like Absent-Minded Abe did with you. I will pay for every single thing you want. Traveling expenses, gloves, training. I don't give a shit what you want. And then we'll meet in a ring or a cage and we can fight. I will come to you. I do not care. But if you're really about it and you're really as tough and manly as you think you are, then let's do it. Because I'm sick of the talk. All you do is harass people online. You tell us that we're not being targeted or stalked. Meanwhile, you create multiple profiles to harass us, the thing that you're claiming isn't happening, and to stalk us, the other thing you're claiming isn't happening. It makes no sense, and that's the hallmark of an insane person. Somebody who does the same thing over and over again and expects different results. So again, I propose to you, if you want to fight, It's okay. We can. That's all right. I'll come to you. I'll bring everything. I don't mind. I'll pay for it. Otherwise, just shut up. Because all you're doing is making yourself look like a fool. Everybody knows you're a clown. If you have any sort of balls, any sort of courage, any sort of guts, and if you really were a veteran and you have any pride in that, like you claim you do, well, then you should probably stand up for yourself, because I'm calling you out and saying you weren't. So come prove it to me.
And so that guy wants to fight Chief Handler. There's this funny video. I mean, I watched some of the Burger Boy videos. You know, I'm a sub to him, and he's got some really weird ones. But this one here is going to be the craziest video. It has nothing to do with gang stalking or anything. But it's just some weird person he found on the internet. Let's close the show out with a weird note here. This is some funny ass shit. This dude is like, I mean, we might just go to his channel just to show you how weird fucking YouTube is. I saw this last night. I had to play it a few times and actually went to the channel because it's so bizarre. It's Chief Handler, everybody. Okay, that was our intermission. I'm gonna try this guy's channel. I haven't seen any of his content, but he's got one. He says, "I finally caught a gang stalker in the shooting area." I don't even know what we're gonna watch, so let's just see what happens here. He caught a gang stalker. Let's see what it is. I have no idea what's in this video. I've never seen it. He has a whole gang stalking channel. May take a while for it to come up. He catches a gang stalker at the shooting range.
Yeah, they're over here hiding behind this tree line, shooting their guns off. There his ass is right there. Watch him leave. They came out here twice doing it in this, I guess in this area, yeah. They're gonna have to shoot me. Look at them.
His breathing is killing me. It's a long way to those gang stalkers.
Starts acting normal after he was hiding behind that tree like a bitch.
He was hiding behind the tree like a bitch. Crazy.
Look at them. They know what they're doing.
God, the wind noise is killing me. I wonder if he ever catches him.
Look at him. Same truck that's been following me around, that white Ford.
It was the white Ford.
It parks at my camp sometimes. Look at him.
Yeah, he's got good evidence. I give him
He
that.
was hiding in the tree line because he don't want me to see his face. Look at this shit.
Man, looks like some crazy. Looks like some really crazy ass shit to me. That's all I can say. We're gonna finish part 2 of that. That looks crazy. You're lucky you didn't get killed, all those people.
Tell your masters they're gonna have to shoot me. Tell your masters, fuck them. I'm being gang stalked. If you ain't one of them, just keep going. You ain't a gang stalker? Keep going. All right, if you ain't a gang stalker, then you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Why are you recording?
Gang stalkers. You know what a gang stalker is? You should look it up. I'm being gang stalked. Well, I gotta record you because people be shooting around my camp. So, well, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, man. You shooting over here, so I caught you. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm not doing anything wrong, so why don't you just keep going? Why are you worried about it? Why are you worried about it?
Why are you recording?
Because I'm being gang stalked. People shoot around my camp and at me all the time, bro. Then don't worry about it. Just keep going. You're not gonna come up. That's just videos. It's just videos. I will. If it's not you, yeah, I will. I promise. I promise. I'm not a bad guy. I mean, if those dudes called you over there in order to harass me, because that's what they do. They call regular friends. Yes, they do. They call regular friends.
On the other side of the river. We were just messing around.
Well, that's fine, bro. But there's people been shooting at me and in my direction and everything else, so I gotta record it.
All right, it's not us.
All right.
We're just a couple.
My name's Joseph. My name's Joseph Costello, man. I always report it to the police and everything. I'm not a bad dude, but you know what I mean? I gotta do what I gotta do.
We just wanted to know.
Gang stalkers. Look up gang stalking, man. Freemasons. Freemasons be sending gang stalkers out to my camp, man. Serious.
All right. Well, we were just wondering, but it's not us.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right, cool.
All right.
Look at him.
Just keeps on going.
Being a little bitch. I'm kind of happy about this. I finally caught the bitches shooting around my camp. I got them all grouped up, bro. They're two-faced bitches. They are two-faced. Okay, they can switch that face around so fucking fast. It's just like, it's unbelievable how they don't have a conscience like they do. Bro. These motherfuckers all act the same way. They're like, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? You can't handle it like a man. They want me to, just like that other bitch. He's saying, oh, yeah, you're a fucking fag. You know, remember that one? Remember me telling you about that? These motherfuckers are instigators. They want me to do something. I was going to put my knife in my pants pocket. I'm glad I didn't. Because they would have been like, oh, well, he was coming at us with a knife or something. Or, oh, fucking no, man. They're going to use that as an excuse, I guess. But most times, these instigators, man, the real instigators are the ones with the guns. The ones that aren't instigated, well, they're with the instigator, but they won't shoot their gun. They'll just be called up there as like a groupie, because it's all a group thing. It's a whole group thing. The ones with the guns that are openly with the guns and shooting them and everything, those are the ones that I gotta watch out for. The ones that were hiding behind the trees, those are the ones that I gotta watch out for. Those motherfuckers don't want their identity out there. That's why they ask me every fucking time. They're like, go to delete me. There was a guy that I caught under the bridge. Bro, he said the same exact thing. They all acted the same way, bro. They are fucking scum. That dude got out of his truck, white Ford, you know, the one with the welder on the back and everything. He got out after that. I didn't record it, but he got out after, and he was like, "Oh yeah, fuck you. You know, you're a pussy. You got no balls." Blah 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 blah. I said, "Cause I caught you. I caught you, bro. You want to be a piece of shit. You want to be a star." Here you are. I'm so fucking glad I caught this fucking scumbag, bro. These pieces of shits, bro. Boy, I got one little clipping where it's like 6 seconds long because they would be so far out, you know. And they'll be shooting. But actually, this time, you fucking bitches, been waiting on that fucking. Been waiting. Just patiently waiting. And these motherfuckers fell for it. They fucking, y'all are stupid. Y'all fucking stupid asses. Bro, I've been waiting. And there you go. You are fucking dumb. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Stop fucking gang stalking me. Start fucking being good in your life, you fucking clones, vrills. I don't give a fuck what you are. Start doing something. Move forward. Get the fuck over your jealousy, your rage, everything else. You are nothing.
All right, so I'm just going to play this last clip here. This is we're going to close him out, and this one is a Stop Gang Stalking Awareness Group. I guess it's some type of intro for gang stalking. Probably end the show with this. It had a lot of views. Let's see what it's all about. I have no idea, but we'll pop it on here. Gang stalking and targeted individuals. It looks like an introduction. It's 2 minutes long. I'll post the link in the chat if anyone wants to come up.
Swish this sour liquid in your mouth before bed to regrow your teeth.
All right, so that was the end of that. I don't think I really have anything else to say. Does anybody want to come up? I'll post the link in the chat. If not, we'll probably close it out. Let's see here. Yeah, it's been 3 hours. I think everybody went to bed. I'll post the link in the chat. If nobody wants to come up, we will probably end this live. My computer hasn't refreshed. It says it started 3 minutes ago. But I will share the closeout song if I can find it. Let's see. It'll be in TI Art or TI Intro. And we will close out the show. Everybody have a good night. I don't think anybody wanted to come up. Otherwise, you would have popped in. And we'll do probably another live next Friday around 6 p.m. So until then, I will see you guys in the chat rooms and have a safe sleep and a good Sunday tomorrow. It says, I'm good news. I don't feel like talking tonight. Yeah, same here, Scotty. I'm done. We pretty much hashed it all out last night. So I'm going to play.
This for my chosen people. This for the chosen people. This for my chosen people. Targeted individuals. For my chosen people. This for the chosen people. They think they know who you are. They think they captured your heart. They think they playing us all, but they must answer to God. Good for the soul they don't like, cause they're afraid of the light. Cursing, scheming with demons. Go ahead, tell me what your blood type. I am an RH negative, that means I'm more than positive. But they don't want me saying it, but I think it's more than obvious. We are the chosen people, the elect from Yah. We have our way with evil, it's time we cut them off. Now watch me overpower these cowards turning sour. This is our chosen time, we in the final hour. They're using MK Ultra, torturing Project Monarch. Are you a Montauk boy? Put on your shield of armor. In I the Holy Spirit, in I exist for Yah. Now watch me slay the dragon and make a giant ball. Airplanes and helicopters, chemtrails and gang stop. weapons to try to block our chakras. They're using EMF, scalar technology. Our friends and family betray us, it's in the prophecy. They want a new world order, and they curse the father. These demons sold their soul, they'd sacrifice their daughter. They using television in the radio station, cell phones and smart meters, all forms of radiation. But I rebuke the devil in the Holy Spirit. I'm reaching out to ya, I just hope you hear it. Never take the mark of the beast, you must retain your soul. In Yah you shall find peace, the scripture tells us so. Witches and warlocks, occultic casting spells. I try to save them all, but they be choosing hell. Into the lake of fire, they will surely fall. From the towers of Babel, the final curtain call. I am my brother's keeper, and I walk with Christ through the valley of the shadow, because I know it's right. They're using hypnosis, trying to steal our focus, setting traps and triggers inside their hocus pocus. But I got superpower, and they can't mess with me. See, I am one with God, and I make demons flee. It's for my chosen people. It's for the chosen ones.
Yeah, night everyone. Until next time. Be safe. Have a good sleep later.